Hello, welcome to my first attempt at a code with me. I am going to show you over the course of these as I work through it. I'm going to be creating a new website, web application for my wife's voice studio. So that is the project that I have in front of me. I have done nothing on it as of this point. So we're going to start from the beginning and we're going to work our way through. In this first episode, you may never see me write a line of code. But before you write code, you got to do your DevOps first. First thing you need is a development environment, some environment that you're going to write your code in. You might have Eclipse on your computer, you might use Vim, you might have Visual Studio. Visual Studio Code is free that you can download on the internet. That's what I use at work because we're a Microsoft office, and so I use a Microsoft product at work. Which is ironic because I'm typically writing JavaScript and PHP code, which neither is at all related to Microsoft, but I digress. Anyway, for my personal work, I prefer to work in AWS Cloud. Specifically, when I'm writing code, I use Cloud9, which used to be its own thing, but Amazon bought them a couple of years ago. So first thing we need to do is get into AWS. Now, I've already done that here, and it's been so long since I first set up AWS, I don't remember the steps to get in there, so you're going to have to figure that out on your own. But once you're in, here's the AWS Developer Console. You just click on Cloud9. There it is. And I'm just going to go up here, and I'm going to hit Create New Environment. And we're going to call this Code with Joe. All right, now we're going to create a new instance, and I'm going to use a t3.small. And just from my experience, the t2.micro, well, it's great if you're just messing around. As soon as you're trying to do anything complicated, it tends to be not enough resources. So I like to just upgrade that a little bit. I'm going to use Amazon Linux. If you are coming from like a school or something, you probably are more familiar with Ubuntu Server. So feel free to do that if that's what you're familiar with. Amazon Linux is based off of CentOS Linux platform, which is very similar to Red Hat, which is what I use at work. And so I prefer to use the Amazon Linux because then I don't have to memorize as many different things. I used Ubuntu in school. Ubuntu's great, but I'm going to go with Amazon Linux. Leave this at the default. And we don't have to worry about any of this. Next step. All right, we recommend use source control. Yep, I will use source control. Create environment. Now this is going to spin up. And it might take a few minutes. So while that's taking a few minutes, let's call in our customer. Because one of the most important things you need to do is know what you're building. So I'm going to ask my lovely wife, Jessie, to come and join me here and lounge in our bed and discuss her website with me. Yes, we're lounging.
Okay, I guess we're lounging.
We're lounging.
You can't see me, so hi. Now you can.
Now you can. There's my lovely wife. All right. So, Jessie, you want a website for your business, yes?
Correct. I do.
Okay. And we've got this up now. So I'm going to take notes in here where people can see them. I'm just going to create a new file. And when we save this, I'll save it preemptively. Customer interview notes.txt. There we go. Save. Okay, so first thing I would like to get is what you would like your website to do for you.
I would like it to obviously have the name of my business and address and ways to contact me. My business is a voice studio.
Mm-hmm.
So something that would be really important for me would be a way to schedule lessons, to show what the schedule is for lessons that are available, and have people be able to contact me and fill slots in that schedule. I would also like to have pages that describe my sort of teaching philosophy and show what my rates are.
Are there any reach features that you perhaps don't think of right as immediately, but that would be really interesting or useful to have?
It would be really interesting if you could make the schedule on the website link up with my calendar on my phone. And it would be...
And that's Google Calendar?
Yes, I do have Google Calendar.
Okay. What about online payments?
Online payments would be great. It's something where people can just have a monthly...
Like a monthly recurring payment?
Recurring payment. Because that's how most of my students and their parents prefer to pay me.
Okay.
I'd also really like it to look nice. I don't want it to look like any of your... God bless her heart, any of your sister's websites.
Okay. We're not going to worry about anything my sister has done or any of my sisters have done. Do you have anything like colors or logos that you associate with your business?
I don't yet.
Okay. Would you like something like that to be created?
Yes. That'd be amazing.
Would like a logo?
Logo, color scheme.
And defined color scheme. Do not currently exist. Okay. Lovely. So the next question. So we've got this list of features. We've got the base stuff you first thought of off the top of your head. We've got these reach features. Now that you can look at this list in front of you, and I'm looking at it too, what are the features that are the bare minimum for the website to be useful to you?
Bare minimum is everything that's in the base features that we talked about. I need to be able to...
The name of your business needs to be there.
Yep.
Address and contact need to be there. So the bare minimum, they need to be able to use the website to schedule lessons.
They have to, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I might as well just continue using Facebook.
All right. And that goes right in there with scheduling lessons. So.
Yep.
And these are pretty basic. Those
Right.
are just that's just web page content. That's not going to be a problem. All right. Any of these that you didn't think of initially that you're looking at now that should be bare minimum features as well?
Look nice.
Okay.
I don't need the other three, but they would be amazing to have.
All right. So,
My favorite of the three would be the schedule linking up with the phone calendar, by the way.
okay. I'm going to put a plus by that instead of a star because it's really would be nice, but it's not a MVP feature. It stands for minimum viable product.
All right.
All right. So, thank you, Jessie. We will probably hear from her again in future episodes once we have something basic to present or have questions. But for now, that's all I need from you.
All right. Thank you very much.
So what you saw there is the first interview with a product owner, which is part of an agile development philosophy. It's where MVP, minimum viable product, comes from. It's all about rapid prototyping. So you get something that works as fast as possible, that is what they need the most, and then you build on it from there. There's a lot more to it than that, and I'm just one person, so I'm not going to go into all of the agile project development methodology, but in the agile world, Jessie would be my product owner, and I'd be the development lead. Okay, so we have a base list of features for this website. We want it to have the name of her business, address and contact info, page to describe teaching philosophy, show her rates, and they need to be able to schedule lessons, and it needs to look nice. So we're largely looking at a basic business website with a few pages, but then we've got the one more complicated application feature of scheduling the lessons that needs to be worked into that. And yeah, there's that. So next up, let's look around our Amazon environment here. So what we have here is we actually have a full Linux virtual machine that we have access to. And it defaults to this environment directory, cd, which has a couple of files in it. And we've got a bash shell down here on the bottom. This is a full bash shell. We've got yum for installing packages. I don't think much is installed on here by default, so we can see we're in the home directory. We can back out a little more. This ec2-user is our username. Not that matters much. We have full privileges in this environment. And we back out here to the root. We can see this looks like a pretty standard Linux system. We obviously don't have any sort of Linux UI, but that's fine. You need to get comfortable with the console if you are going to do development work. I mean, you're going to be typing a lot to type code, so what's the difference in typing commands into a console? All right, we're back to our environment directory. Now, I'm just going to test to see if we have a few basic utilities installed that we will want. Git. All right, that's a good sign. So I typed in Git, and it gave me all the help page for how to use Git. So Git is package manager and version controller. Not package manager. It's a version control system and history storage, so you can, it's a version control system. Stop talking before I say something even more dumb than Git is a package manager. It's not. All right, so Git is installed. Let's try Node. Node is installed. We've got version 10. That's fine. So, and then we've got npm because we have Node, and this is good. This is good. All right. So let's see if I can remember this package name. npm init. Okay, so we're creating our package.json file. Package name, Jesse Harrison Voice Studio. Oh, right. Has to be URL friendly, so there. And version, we're going to start at 0.0 or 0.1.0. Description, website for Jesse Harrison Voice Studio for advertising and lesson scheduling purposes. Entry point, index.js is fine. Test command, we're not going to worry about that yet. Git repository, we're not going to worry about that yet. Keywords, author, Joe Harrison. License, now we'll say BSD. All right, we're just going to skip that for now. Yes. Okay, we have package.json. Okay, so one of the things with development is you never are going to have all of the stuff that you want memorized. You will regularly have to refer back to old code. You will regularly have to Google things on the internet. So, yeah. You just expect to have to do that, and you will see me do that a lot. I'm going to keep testing here. All right, Mongo does not appear to be installed. And that's okay. I didn't particularly expect it to be. Yeah, Vue CLI, of course, is not. But npm install Vue CLI. Well, package has been deprecated in favor of @vue/CLI. Not found get. Well, that's interesting. Oh, typo. It's another thing. Typos will happen. Learn to read your work. Okay. And I probably should be installing this globally. So let's go ahead and just cancel that out. I'm going to add the global flag on there. So Vue is a front-end development framework. It is my personal favorite to work with of the three most popular, being Angular, React, and Vue. There's nothing wrong with Angular or React. A lot of people swear by them. Frankly, if you're trying to get a job in the development world right now, React is the thing to learn, but it drives me nuts. And both at work and in my personal work, I have the freedom to pick which one I want to use. So I picked the one I wanted to use. That's Vue. I find it the fastest and easiest to understand when developing. All right. Okay, view init. Voice Studio. Okay, I need to find a template for this. Okay, so there, now we're going to go to Google for the first time. View CLI template. Creating a project. View CLI. This right here is one of the reasons why Vue is awesome, because Vue.js.org has a lot of great information. Okay, so it recommends using Vue create rather than Vue init. Here we go. We're going to manually select features. We are going to use Babel. We are going to do... Oh, I think I hit the wrong button. Okay, manually select features. Okay, press space to select. Note to self, read the prompts. Progressive web app, we will use Vue Router. We will use Vuex. So what these are, Babel is just something that checks your syntax as you're going and lets you know when you're not doing things in necessarily the best way. Progressive web apps enables you to create like a link on the home page of like an Android device, or I believe iOS supports PWAs as well. And then while it's still a browser, it behaves more like a native app on the phone, if that makes sense. Vue Router just is a package that allows you to take advantage of URIs within a Vue app. So typically, Vue will create a single page application. Vue Router enables that application to have multiple different URLs. Vuex is a data model, a front-end data model. CSS preprocessors, yes, we want that. Linter formatter is good. We will throw unit testing in here. I'm really bad at test writing. It is my weakness. It is many developers' weakness. Every tutorial I've ever gone through has always been like, write your tests first. Write your tests first. But you know what I've discovered? So few tutorials actually take you through writing a test first. So when it came down to it, I never learned to write good unit tests. Now, if somebody out there knows of a way that I can really dig in and learn how to write good unit tests, please point me in that direction. I've attempted to learn testing frameworks all over the place and attempted to have to write them and put them in my code, and it always just came down to it. I wasn't good at writing tests that actually tested what needed to be tested to keep the code from breaking. And that was that. But I'll put it in here because if I end up with a feature that I am feeling is too complicated for me to debug, and I would like to put some unit tests in, or maybe we'll get there and I will have better figured out unit testing, then I'll start writing some tests. All right, moving on. Use history mode for router, yes. Pick a CSS preprocessor. I am a fan of Sass. That is not digging on less or stylus, but I learned Sass first, and it's very much like writing CSS code, and CSS is what every developer learns first in college who's going to do front end stuff. So that was that. I learned Sass. I'm going to specifically do with Node Sass because I've worked with Node Sass in the past. All right. And we're going to do ESLint plus standard config. I've tried the Airbnb, but standard seems to be more fitting to my coding style. Lint on save. And we're going to do mocha plus chai for our unit tests. All right, and we're going to put our config in dedicated config files. And we're not going to bother saving this as a preset because I'm not going to use this environment for any other projects. I have a different environment for my own projects that I'm not broadcasting to the interwebs. And it installs. So yeah, a big part of being a developer is you just have to wait sometimes for things like this to install. And you got to keep an eye on it. And there we go. Okay. So far, we don't have anything that we can really speak for yet, but if we go into Voice Studio, npm run serve, just like it suggested, we can get a basic front-end development server, testing server running, and this probably won't work because we are on the AWS environment. Yeah, I got invalid host header. So I remember the last time I had to do this. It took me a while to figure that out. So I'm not going to deal with that right now. I will do research off screen, and next time we will come back, and one of the things that we will do is I will show you how to get your development server working properly in AWS. For now, we're going to continue our installs. So we've got our front-end framework here in this Voice Studio directory. And you can see we've got all these config files that it pre-installed for us. We will have to do a bunch of that. For now, we're going to back out to this environment root, and we're going to do git init in the local directory. Initializing empty git repository, great. And we're going to do a git add. We're going to add everything that's here. Actually, if I can go into Voice Studio, it created a .git directory in here, didn't it? It did. All right, I'm going to just remove the .git here. Sudo remove. All right, now it's gone. Because I want my Git to be at this higher level, and actually before I'm going to sudo rm the .git here as well. And so that is a directory that holds all of Git's information, and if you delete that directory, you delete the repository. It doesn't delete your files, but all of the history tracking of Git is gone. But we had literally just created that, and it didn't have anything in it, so whatever. But I want to create a git ignore file first. So we're going to touch.git ignore, and this just creates a file, an empty file. And git ignore, Git uses to know what sort of stuff not to save. And we want to make sure right off the bat that it does not track node modules, because we're going to have a lot of stuff in the node modules directory that we don't want being tracked with Git. Look at this. That's just from the view CLI create command. These are all the dependencies of Vue. It's immense, and you want that. Anything you need out of that, you want to be compiled into a few files for your production release. And because we've got a package.json with this information in it of these are the dependencies and the version numbers, any computer that you move this to, using Git, you can run an npm install command and just get all those dependencies back again on that machine without having to save all of these files to your Git repository. We don't need that hassle. All right. Yeah, so we've got a git ignore, and then we're going to do our git init again. Okay. And then we're going to do git add dot. Okay, so we do a git status. This just shows that we've got all of this stuff to be committed. Our Cloud9 configuration stuff we can probably remove. So .c9. It's there. There. And oh, I should have done dash dash cached. It's not a big deal. It won't break anything, I hope. But we're going to go back into that git ignore, and we're going to ignore .c9 files. So, oh yeah, see, it just recreated them for us. But we don't need those moved around either. That's Cloud9 configuration files. Like, yeah. All right, so we'll go back to git status. Is there anything else in here that we accidentally grabbed that we didn't want? It doesn't look like it. Awesome. So we will do another git add because we modified git ignore. Note the git ignore is a tracked file in our repository. So if we move this somewhere else, we won't end up adding node modules in our other environment there. Or if we're working on this with somebody else, they won't add node modules using Git to our tracked repository because they'll have the same git ignore file that we do. All right, git status, okay. Everything's added. Now we can commit. First commit. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do, we're going to go to GitHub. So here's my GitHub. I'm going to sign in. And it's sending a one-time authentication code to my phone. Two-factor authentication. It's good. Use it. It's supposed to text me. There it goes. Okay. And if you see this, it's not a big deal because it's a one-time authentication code. And by the time that this is going to go up on YouTube, that'll be useless to you. Okay. Repositories, new. And we're just going to title it Voice Studio. Oh, repository already exists on the account. I probably attempted to start this once upon a time and then never did anything with it. Let's see what's in here, huh? Not much. All right. I'm going to rename it to Voice Studio Old. And then I'm going to go back out here to repositories. And I'm going to create a new Voice Studio repository. There we go. I'm not going to initialize with a README because we've already got a README in there. We're not going to add any of this stuff. Create the repository. All right, so now that we've created that there, you can see we got this remote. And we're going to do a git remote add, and this is going to be GitHub, and that's our URL. We hit enter. And git remote. Okay, we have to create it. I'll do it verbose. You can see it's got the fetch and push locations. So we're just going to start with a git pull GitHub master. Oh. Git branch master. Okay. Git pull GitHub. Find. Okay, it wants me to start with a push. Okay. Git push GitHub master. And I put in my username. And I use password manager, by the way. And I've got a token for GitHub two-factor authentication to be able to get in. There we go. So it's been pushed. Our first push to the remote repository. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I never like to do actual work on the master branch. So I'm going to create new branches. So git checkout b production. So we're going to create a production branch, and this we'll use later for production releases. And git checkout b UAT, and git checkout b, and I like to do my dev branches using this sort of formatting, 1.xdev. So now we see we've got 4 branches for our environments. Master we will basically never worry about again. But we're going to push our new branches up to GitHub now. And I've still got that password in the clipboard. Oop, apparently I don't. Copy password. There we go. Now if we go over to GitHub, we should see those replicated. Yep, we go to code, branch master, and then we have 1.xdev, and all of these are identical right now. And that's fine. Okay. Now our next thing we're going to look at, and this will be, no, we'll do that next time. I was thinking I would show you connecting it to Heroku, but we will do that another time. We don't need to connect to Heroku yet. We don't really have much yet. But I will leave it at there for now. We've got a standard template set up. Next time we will look at setting up the backend, which we will use our whole stack. You may have heard of the mean stack, which is Mongo, Express, Angular, Node. Hers will be more like the MEVN stack, where we will use Mongo, Express, Vue, Node. But it's going to be a JavaScript environment top to bottom, and it's going to be very cool. But yeah, I'll see y'all next time as we continue in our coding adventure.